the farmer and they were able to invite the farmer to select what the variety, what the heirloom they want to promote. The heirloom seed more selected were multiplied. And 80 tons of seed had been sold in 2 years. It's really fresh news. And they discover this, I would say, collective, this joint work between professional and small farmer. They discover hubs has a business accelerator. What is that? So, for instance, a small farmer in this particular region, they sold the kilo of maize by 5 pesos. Yeah, before the intervention. And the main clients, the government who buys seed from the small farmer, and big grain producer are the main clients or customer. They purchase the seeds by 120 pesos to the conventional company. So what's created is a social enterprise in which they train more farmer. They pay to the farmer now 20 pesos per kilo, and they sell by 80 pesos per kilo to the government and grain producer. What the social enterprise is doing as well, he's providing some technical support about organic agriculture and land races or heirloom management to them, and also they providing some services to the mainly to the big grain producer, how to reduce the production cost by using organic agriculture and heirloom seed adapted to the local conditions. And the most interesting thing, at least in my view, is they were able to create a platform in which representatives from all these stakeholders are able to negotiate a way that they can reach out a win-win situation. The first experience inspired farmers and social enterprise to create new business accelerator prototypes. For instance, this is another prototype. So a farmer who became a technical service provider. So this is a champion farmer who was participating through the participatory seed breeding program. This smallholder, this farmer, particular farmer, was considered like a professional associate of a research organization or development organization, NGO, and she diffused the best practice in the community. But I think the status that she gets in working for a well-known organization, oh my God, it was unbelievable, the impact and the credibility that she had. Because they had the knowledge, but they need some, umbrella for operating. The other is franchise. For instance, it's more addressed to some organization who has something new, a particular development and research organization, drafting a license for a particular product or service, and mainly a public organization. Sometimes they have plenty of results in the safe and in the screen, and they are not able to share with others. Well, they identify some smallholder, they give the license to the smallholder, and the smallholder have different clients, and they work in this area. And the other, the open source, is another type. It's more, I would say, less structured process, but quite effective. In which, for instance, this is a You can start with a diversity seed with dozens varieties of maize, of bean, whatever you have in place. And you invite different farmers, and the farmers start discover what is the seed diversity of different seeds they want to grow in the farm, and they multiply. They made the different trials, and they invite to other. It's the typical chain reaction. Yeah, and after they test the diversity and new, not only seed, only new techniques, organic techniques, they organize like a business cluster in order to make business about the new knowledge they have. This is another type of prototype of business that have been created in the field when you release seed diversity. Some final remarks. The first one, the agrobiodiversity pollinators are extremely important in promoting these prototypes. So the only way that MICO found in promoting a massive transformation, was through the agrobiodiversity pollinator, who are the person with this capacity to bring people and to diffuse diversity all over the place. The second seems is a smallholder and staff have many things to share, many things. They need to discover what is the power of each one have to attain what? A win-win situation, a real horizontal relationship, and one is the main challenge. Strengthening this capacity of a critical number of individual organizations in moving business in a win-win situation. How to break a little bit this hierarchy that industrial agriculture imposed in our mind. So agrobiodiversity pollinator can be accelerator of local innovations. They can be really efficient in transforming the food system if they are able to develop soft skills. The majority of us, including me, we pass the university and we learn in the university a lot of hard skills that are really important, but it's not enough. This skill, the hard skills, are not enough for transforming the food system. You need to develop soft skills. The second, they need to strengthen the capacity to promote the collective action of a smallholder with other relevant actors of the food system. How to connect the smallholder who are producing excellent seed diversity, excellent food, with other key representatives of the food value chains. They've really become really efficient when they are able to promote business model with a strong participation of a smallholder. It's something that MICO calls inclusive businesses. So how participatory plant breeding can be promoted in Jamaica? So it's my personal view. It's something for breaking the ice. One important thing is identifying what is necessity and urgency of farmer. So look at two important words: necessity and urgency. In the experience of MICO, even in my own experience, when you are able to identify all these important words, is really powerful entry point. second thing is designing a participatory seed breeding program managed by farmer in collaboration with professionals. I would say designing how to start. So it's really hard to define 10 years of participatory plant breeding program because sometimes I think it needs to be step by step. Designing a modest participatory seed breeding program, 1 year, 2 years to break the ice. And on the way that you learn how to do it, you can scale up step by step. It can be a good way of moving ahead. And the third is identifying sources of funding to implement it. Of course, you need some investment to create this capacity in the stakeholder that you really want to involve in. Well, this is my presentation. Before finishing my my talk, I really want to share with you one video about because all this aspect is really linked with culture. When we talk about agriculture is now bio-agro techniques. And during the process that Nico developed in promoting organic farming in organic breeding in southern farmer in Cuba and other part of the world, the cultural aspect is really, really important. And he made a video clip in order to share the experience of organic crop breeding. And this video that I will present you is about the romance between a Chinese with a Cuban black people that they fall in love because of rice. I'm going to show you. Just a minute. Let me try this and see it's full. Yes, a minute. Yeah. Can you see it?
Yes, we're seeing it and hearing it. Thanks.
Oh yeah, perfect. So
we're just seeing, maybe not. Actually, Humberto, no, we're not seeing it. Humberto?
Yeah, yes.
We're actually not seeing, we're just seeing the screen from the presentation. We thought that would be.
You cannot see the screen.
Yeah, I'm just seeing what the PowerPoint that you presented. I'm hearing the music.
Right, just a minute.
Yeah, maybe we can stop share and start again.
Yeah, just a minute. And now?
Not yet. Still just the PowerPoint.
Oh, I don't know. Let me see what. Oh yeah, I see. And now?
We see you.
All right, and now, okay, I will sing for you. Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now?
Yes, something's up. It says, wait.
Y ahora?
Yes, we're seeing a picture. Yes, I think it's about.
And are you listening to the music?
Yes, I am. Okay.
All right. It's for you guys.
It looks like, right. She's taking pictures, right?
Muchacha con mi cocha prechocha, con mi puchunguita cha cha cha. Un negrito de mi Cuba, muerto de amor por ochín. Esa chinita rosera que quiere vivir feliz. Con mi linda muchacha, con mi cocha prechocha, con mi puchunguita cha cha cha. Con mi negro ripiera, como que cualquiera, con mi somontuno cha cha cha. Los frijoles se entremezclan con arroz de la sabana y juegan entre el fanguito con mi música cubana. Un minero ripiera, como que cualquiera, con mi somontuno cha cha cha. Con mi linda muchacha, con mi cocha prechocha, con mi puchunguita ya ya ya. Mira cómo tú me tienes, carameladito, acarameladito, mi china. Mira cómo tú me tienes, acarameladito, acarameladito, mi china. Mira cómo tú me tienes, que soy un mal de nervio por tu beso de arroz. Mira cómo tú me tienes, que no arreglo dormir sin tu boca. Mira cómo tú me tienes, acarameladito, comiendo arroz con palito. Mira cómo tú me tienes, esta mezcla de frijoles con tu arrocito, amorcito. Mira cómo tú me tienes, ya tengo un jabá chinadito. Mira cómo tú me tienes, entre rico traque y mi rico roncito. Mira cómo tú me tienes, apurado estoy, apurado arroz con fanguito. Mira cómo tú me tienes, ay chinita, guaquira, guaquira guantanamera. Dinero riviera, con mujer cualquiera, con mi somontuno cha cha cha.
Okay. Oh.
So we
Yes.
find out that you're not just this amazing seed breeder, but an organizer, but also a singer.
Well, no, believe me, for me it was one important, I would say, powerful tool for disseminating all the knowledge, to convert the scientific knowledge into art. For me, was really important. Yeah.
It's a holistic approach.
Yeah, for sure. So that is why it's very important to involve in the organic breeding process artists as well. And for me, farmer are artists.
Okay. Thank you so much for that presentation. But before we switch into questions, I remember us having a conversation about another part of this seed breeding program, how bringing the consumer in, how the women who cooked the food were so important. So they were able to make, can you just talk a little bit about the squash?
Yeah, sure.
And then we can go into questions and open it up.
Well, yeah. So it was really interesting because mainly, well, in the majority of the crops that the farmer was exposed to select. So we divide men and women and men in order to see what is the difference between the selection criteria, and this is really amazing. So, for instance, in beans, we test more than 30 different varieties of beans. In rice, about 35, and for men, so oh my goodness, so all the varieties almost had the same taste. But the women have the capacity of differentiate an incredible range of different tastes. And yeah, this was a very important aspect, not only for the exercise of demonstrating that they are different, also for market as well. Also for market was a very important criteria. And yes, at the end, participatory organic breeding, I would say the lady played a crucial role. At the beginning, they are a little bit, regulated, but in the way that the program is moving ahead, they getting more involvement, and they demonstrate in the field the capacity they have. So normally they start with a small plot that the husband give to her, and after 3-4 years, the small plot of the women start to grow, and that is why it's very important to create this kind of inherent environment. But when you are transforming food systems, gender relationships need to make other forms. And of course, it's no easy way of doing, but you need to support this kind of change step by step.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that with me. It was something that I never thought about in terms of most of the different seeds that we get. Obviously, they're coming from a kind of commercial space, and that we're just planting, and nobody's really asking the person who is going to end the end user often to communicate, like, is this a good pumpkin, or is it watery? Is it good? Is it dry? So we're just kind of just giving these seeds and expected to plant them. So I like the fact that we get a chance to, it's a very holistic approach, and that everybody gets a kind of say in terms of what even is more things are being produced. So
just a minute, Nicola. Before to give floor to the rest of the participants, something that we did unconsciously, that we promote this kind of farmer trials, and we support them to invite dozens of farmers around. At the end of the day, we invited seed customer to see what. Yeah, we did it unconsciously, because we are living in the communist country. You cannot think about the market, about this aspect. But after that, the farmer made the business because of that, because they knew what is the demand, the real demand that the farmers around them have, and they can work straight, more demand-driven approach, instead of to plant and see what kind of seed I can sell.
Right. They can go out and see what is going on in the field.
Yes, of course.
In the community.
And what kind of traits are more interest for farmer men and farmer women as well.
Right. Okay, I would like to open it up for questions, and people can raise their hands, and I will try to get it to as many people as we can to answer questions. Let's not be shy. Colleen, I see you open up. Do you have a question?
Yes. When you started out with Michael, how long did it take to train your agrobiodiversity pollinators? How long was that process of getting people ready to spread the word?
Oh, interesting question. Thank you. It's a really key question. So normally the training is depending on, the long of the training is how long is the crop that you are growing. For instance, you are in the summer season, in which you can grow maize and cowpea. Yeah. So you create this kind. So you're training this agrobiodiversity pollinator, in which you provide them a diversity of maize, 30, 40 variety, or you can say them they can collect different varieties around, depending on the region, and they make in collaboration with farmer, they grow this diversity. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this agrobiodiversity pollinator, working together with farmer, they every month invite different farmers to see what's going on in the field. So this kind of learning is by discovering. So at the end of the 5 months, the farmer have an idea what is the best variety, of the variety more adapted to this particular region, And what is the variety who the consumer of the region have a special, the most desirable variety of the region. So you are working with maize, for instance, can be 5-6 months training, in which every month the farmer and this agrobiodiversity pollinator, they meet and discuss what happened in the field.
Okay. All right. Does that answer your question, Colleen?
Yes, it does.
Okay, great. I see that Dr. Lindsay had a question. I'm going to unmute you. Dr. Lindsay, you can unmute. Dr. Lindsay, did you have a question? I saw that you unmuted. No?
Yeah, I wanted to, good afternoon. I wanted to
Yes.
follow. Are you hearing?
Yes, we're hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of quality assurance, how was that done in the system?
When you say quality, what
Quality assurance in choosing the different varieties and ensuring the quality, how was that done?
Well, in principle, Cuba is import a lot of food, and the predominant food that is moving is flowing in the market. I mean, for the consumer, and not particular the food who came from a small farmer before, yeah. For instance, beans which came from the Soviet Union, from China, and the quality of this grain are really awful. When the consumer discover this kind of diversity that the farmer are able to manage, so this they even are willing to pay a bit more for the quality of this grain. If you refer to this kind of quality. We also made some, how you say it, so for maize, we made some analysis about the quality of the proteins for those maize who farmers were breeding themselves, and from those maize who Cuban import from abroad. And when we compare the quality of the proteins in terms of the amino acids balance was quite superior that the farmer breeded than the maize that we import from abroad. So in terms of quality, the process was, well, if you see the shape of the cup of maize that I present in the photo in my presentation, the difference was really huge. And this is because we select on the organic farming conditions. And the quality of all the nutrients are really more higher than the conventional one.
So it sounds to me that you had, that's where the professionals came in to assist in terms of doing those tests.
No. Well, we had a couple of PhD students who support in testing what they did.
Okay.
Yeah, so they collect some samples, and they made all this analysis, and they collect some samples from the conventional sector in order to discuss with the politician in Cuba. Look at this is the quality that the farmers are able to make by selection.
Okay.
By selecting their own local varieties, by improving, by breeding their own local varieties.
Who maintains the varieties? The ones which are selected?
Well, they sell themselves. So the concept of varieties, for instance, in maize, they manage evolutionary populations. It's totally different to the conventional system. For the conventional system, the variety, even for the organic farming, so for organic farming are more efficient managing the evolutionary population in which this is a mix of genetic diversity. For instance, in maize, a mix of genetic diversity, which have, for instance, 1 or 2 common traits. Yeah, this kind of pool, they manage and they maintain themselves. Yeah, it was inspired by the creator of maize, in which they every year, if they see some interesting populations who can potentially be adapted, they incorporate into the pool, and they maintain the variety. Look at this is the big, huge difference by selection, not by isolation. The conventional breeding maintain varieties by isolation. The organic crop breeding, the varieties are maintained by selection. If you maintain the variety by selection, you have the guarantee to maintain the gene pool and the phenotypic characteristics in more than 85%. If you every year select the plants and the crops and the characters and the particular type that you want to maintain through the year.
Okay.
Dr. Lindsay, does that answer your question a bit?
Yeah, the final one, is there a database or is there a repository where if you are interested in a particular variety or a particular characteristic, is there somewhere that you can go to get this, to purchase it?
Yeah, so two things with this regard. So the farmers sometimes have not the capacity of create a database for that. It's really hard to ask to the farmer. However, if you have students, for instance, in our case, we involved 2 PhD students, and they were able to create a database not only for the phenotypic characteristics, they were able to create a database for the genetic characteristics. They made molecular biology, satellite analysis through 7 years of farmer selections. And it was amazing when you analyze the database. When you analyze the genetic database, the farmer we was able to create a huge population that quite diverse, with 1 or 2 characteristics, I would say, similar. The height of the plant, and I would say 3, and the host of the way that the host cover the cup, and the shape of the grain. The rest was quite different, but they were able to maintain these characteristics. When you analyze the database of genetic database, at the end of the day, after 7 selection cycles, you see phenotypically the population more or less, I would say, quite homogeneous. But genetically, when you analyze all this satellite information, microsatellite information made by molecular biology, it's a huge of diversity inside. And for me, particularly for me, this is the type of variety that we need to create for facing the climate change. It's like a buffer. You have a genetic buffer able to adapt to the different climate change situation that you can face now, even in the future.
And speaking about that, can you tell us, wait 1 second, Doctor, I think this would be very helpful. Can you also then speak about the story about the sugar canes and the hurricane, and in terms of what has happened and what you've learned because of having that biodiversity, that I think will tell.
Yeah, this is particular case that I was explaining you before, because during these 7 cycles of farmer breeding selection, I think passed through, in this period, passed 2 hurricanes. And the farmers were able to select those plants which were able to tolerate the wind. So, so indirectly, and this farmer is not conscious about them. He has really the first hurricane-resistant variety in Cuba.
Amazing.
So this kind of process, because when you make all this stuff in experimental station, sometimes you are growing in artificial conditions, the genetic material that you are growing. So mainly of experimental station, the people, I mean the scientists like me, they put a lot of things that the farmer in practice are not able, they cannot afford to do it. So in the way that the farmer become into the leader of organic breeding selection process, they will be testing in real environments what all the output, all the outcomes about the diversity that at the end of the process they will get. Oh my goodness, it's unbelievable.
Okay, there's a couple more people that are waiting to ask, so I'm gonna just move on. I see that there is Dwayne Brown. You can unmute.
Hi,
Dwayne.
good day.
Hi, Dwayne.
Hello.
Hi, Nicola. Just wanted to ask Humberto if you could just touch a little bit on the nutrition program they use with the organic farming a bit for me, please.
Okay, to talk about how the farmers there dealt with nutrition of the various crops. Okay.
Well, I was saying that from the nutrition point of view, something that we made in order to confirm the quality of the nutrition quality of it was this kind of organoleptic this kind of don't remember the word. Well, the content that the variety selected by farmer had in terms of amino acid and all this stuff. But science have been progressing a lot. If Miko invite me to run again the program, I would love to incorporate the bionutrients analysis now. I think it's a little bit beyond of protein on this classic environment. It's a kind of bionutrients analysis that gives to you some idea how dynamic and living is the food that you are eating so far. So we start doing now with Coventry University now this kind of analysis. We are in the first stage. And the results are really fascinating because we collect some varieties selected by farmer, made by farmer, and we compare with the variety that normally you find in the conventional supermarket. And you both fruit, you made the analysis. Oh my God, the difference is huge. It's really huge. But this is quite new type of analysis. I really, if I start a new breeding program, participatory breeding program on organic, I will make for sure that. But in that time, I'm talking about I finished this program 10 years ago. Well, officially, I have been working with them after that, and yeah, the quality is for sure is much better.
Okay, thank you for that question. I see Mitzi has her hand up. You can unmute Mitzi, and then we can go to Hugh Johnson next. But Mitzi, can you unmute and ask your question?
Hi, evening. So I came in about 20 minutes late. Apologies for that. So I'm not sure if I missed what I'm going to ask. So if we were to, you know, we may not start off with organic seeds, but let's say we were to get some seeds from like some pumpkin seeds and from somebody who used pesticides, right? Yeah. And we planted them in an organic nature, like, you know, we use the organic method to grow the seeds. Those fruits that we're gonna get, like those pumpkins that we're gonna get, will they eventually become organic seeds?
Oh yeah, well, it's just very good point. Well, Depending of I would say of the legislation you have in your country, it's to consider this organic certified or not. For instance, in Europe, so you can grow seeds from the conventional system in your organic system. If you are not able to put any pesticide on it, you can get a license to say that the product is organic.
So all right. So how did you guys gather the organic seeds then?
The different. No, in Cuba we had no fertilizer. We had nothing to do with chemical.
Oh.
No. It was for I would say it was by necessity, and necessity is the mother of invention. So before we had you missed this part. Before 1989, we were the most important consumer of chemical all over Latin American countries. And after 1989, after the socialist country collapsed, we became into one of the largest organic experience in the world by necessity, no by scientific mentality.
I get you. So how would we then, because we have a pesticide problem in Jamaica. I mean, most people use synthetic pesticides here. So how are we going to make that transfer, chemically speaking?
Well, in principle, you have to identify who are the champions, who are growing, for instance, pumpkins organically. Yeah.
Okay.
This is the first to identify the right person for growing this kind of program. The second thing that I will suggest is to organize a collection mission about all farmers who still maintain some pumpkin land races in your zone, in your country.
Okay, second question.
No, the third thing. Let me finish.
Oh, sorry.
The first things, I'm going to form different lines of the different land races that I was able to collect. The fourth things, I will invite at least between 20, 30 farmers around this zone to see how is it possible to produce pumpkins without chemical, with organic situation. The farmer need to see to believe. The 5 steps, I will say, okay, what is the best that you want to take home? I will give them some sample of seed. The only condition that I put the farmer, you have to do the same that I'm doing with you. So I pose you to 10 different varieties of pumpkin or 20 different varieties of pumpkin. So I will provide you all the seed that you need, small amounts of diversity, if you do the same thing that I'm doing with you. And we can make a contract.
Yeah.
Very simple contract. It's a commitment.
Right. Finding the champion farmers. Thanks, Mitzi. We're going to move on to Hugh. Hugh, you can unmute.
Thank you, Nicole. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you quite well.
Great. And may I say a pleasant good evening to all, and thanks for this informative presentation by Humberto. And also to say, my thought process is not to recreate the wheel, but since you have a system there working, how can we collaborate to replicate it here? And especially as you refer to in answering Dr. Lindsay's question about the genetics, and the work or the program of work that Coventry is now undertaking, I'm interested in collaboration and to see how best we can replicate what you're doing there here.
Well, I see part of the objective of the aim of this kind of talk is to start some, I would say, some interaction with you and to discover what is the necessity and the urgency that you have in order to promote. I would say, I don't want to say a similar approach because I don't believe in similarities. I would say I believe in principles. How you can apply the principle that I'm discussing with you to your own reality. And on the basis of that, maybe it's some academic work can be done as well in order of documenting all this process. It's something that I did in Cuba. It's something that the Coventry University brought me on board to do that as well. It's a type of action research instead of more conventional research. So action research producing really tangible output, not only in paper, but also in the chain of the food system.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Hugh, this is one of the reasons that we invited Humberto here, because obviously you know what's going on in Jamaica. I mean, especially in the organic sector, of us trying to get access, and it's been really, really challenging. And so we're, everybody's smuggling in things and all kinds of stuff. So we want to, a nation marches on its stomach but we need the seeds to actually do this. I see Oswald Davis is on next. We're going to do about two more questions after this, and then it's 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night for you right there. So there'll be more and more conversations. So Oswald,
well, no,
would you like to unmute?
I open.
You're up. Okay, all right. Oswald, you're up. You can unmute. You can ask your question. Did you have a question, Mr. Davis? Okay. I'm going to lower your hand and put you back. Okay, I see that Andrew Bruce, you're up next. Did you have a question? You can
okay,
unmute.
sorry about that. Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes, I'm curious about the transition that you made from using chemicals to control pests. And in light of pest control, how do you make your selection of seeds?
Good, very. You made really interesting questions. So the first thing that the transition was not as such, it was a jump in one overnight. So the transition, we suffered a lot of lack of food. So the first 4 or 5 years was terrible. From 1989 up to 1995 was terrible, really terrible, because all the seeds and the system we had in place was completely conventional. So you cannot change, you cannot transform the food system in one overnight. Not only the food system, the mindset, that this is most important aspect, the knowledge. We had not the knowledge to do that. At least you need for this transition from to be a top consumer of chemical to become into the more organic oriented farmer, at least five years, at least, because you need to discover the real property of your land. You need to discover how to change tractor for oxen teams. You need to learn how to work with horses again. So, and you need to, mainly, you need to discover what is the seed that can be adapted to your farming system, because the majority of the seed were available were completely hybrid, adapted to high input agriculture. When you saw that in your farming system, it's a disaster, because they are not fitting in the organic farming. So if you really want to accelerate this process, you need to create the capacity intensively. You need to organize a lot of training programs in the action. One of them is the farm and field school approach. So farm and field school approach is really have been demonstrated that it's really easy way of accelerating the transition. I mean, again, the farmer need to see to believe. So you need to involve, you need to expose farmer to the new things. Otherwise, this doesn't make sense for them. So the university farmer is the field. And you need to work with them side by side, doing together demonstration in the field to bring a critical number of other farmers to see and to replicate.
Okay.
Having walked that road before us then, do you have a lot to share in terms of organic pest control methods?
Well, in Cuba, yes, we had. So yeah, we had. One of the seed is a very important pest control method. When you introduce new type of seeds resistant, variety resistant to diseases and pest control and pest, it's a very important issue, but they're not enough. So there's other method. The biological control is quite important, quite important, and was quite useful in Cuba. In Cuba was able to create a big movement about biological control and other traditional practices. And using some plants like a biological pesticide also worked pretty well. And rotation, and that is why you need at least 5 years to understand and to learn how to do all these things in the field. Yeah, but yes, there are some experience in that.
Okay, thank you, Oswald. I'm going to go on to Andrew. Your hand's still up. Can you jump on really quickly?
Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Good
thank
evening,
you,
everyone.
Andrew.
In terms of actually getting specific ingredients or recipes from you or from Cuba, that I think that would also be very helpful to the group. I search everywhere in every book and on the internet for ways in which to deal with caterpillars and bugs and pests. And I tend to find that brassicas, I have a warm time with the brassicas. I use rabbit urine. I use neem leaves.
Yeah.
I use neem oil. I use soap and water.
Yeah.
I still have never used tobacco. And peppers and onions, right? And I still find that unless I cover it with an insect mesh, like a low hoop, a caterpillar house.
Yeah.
That's almost the only way that I can really prevent myself from.
But it's working for you. It's my question.
Well, I find that what I've been trying to, it works when I put the insect netting over it, right? But not everybody is necessarily going to have access to insect netting, perhaps. But yeah, the sprays don't always work. What I've been doing in terms of seed selection is that for the past 6 years or so, I've been purchasing organic seeds from things which we traditionally would not find in the market. So I purchased wing beans, a bush cabbage, which is a type of tree collard, because I was kind of looking for things that I could be saving seeds for and then eventually spread it to other farmers. So, Ujima Source Farm is a perfect place to hand over some of these things.
All right.
So in terms of that seed selection, say for instance, like on my wing beans, right? Because you say you need champion farmers. I am not a champion farmer, but I want to learn from you right now how to become a champion farmer on seed selection.
Well, champion farmer is September. You can do probably.
I understand.
Unconscious. Yeah.
So when I'm selecting seeds from the dried pods on the wing bean, for instance, should I be looking for the largest seeds from the largest beans, or is it just about planting it organically and continually to grow and save seed and use that seed to regrow and keep on doing that until it's?
Well, this is a really amazing question, because I don't know what is your orientation to the market, because this is with markets, because at the end of the day, so you need to think is you are producing for self-consumption, or you need to get some profit about that.
Yes.
If you are focusing on get some extra income with your particular beams, it's quite important to find a way to involve the customer in the process of selection as well.
Okay.
And it's a guarantee that you can make some shortcut for get profit with your customer and get more confident with them.
Okay. Can I, yeah, do I have the time to slip in one more question about a particular plant?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Is callaloo something, are you familiar with callaloo? That's what we call it in Jamaica. It's amaranth.
Yes, amaranth.
Yeah. Do you know, are you familiar in Cuba? Do you consume it the same way that Jamaicans do, which is as a green, not a green?
We don't consume amaranth, but I was working in Bolivia with a center of origin of amaranth.
Okay. Well, I'll ask the question anyhow. I know it's sold online as Lego spinach, but here in Jamaica, I see like it comes out of certain compost suppliers, and you see it on the side of the road. It looks like an amaranth. It looks like a callaloo. It puts out a bright pink and white fuzzy flower when it blooms, but the plant is purple and green. I don't know what the local name for it is, but I know it as Lego spinach. I've been using that instead of planting callaloo, because it's like once you have callaloo in the garden, it's just a magnet for bugs. And I noticed that this particular crop, the Lego spinach, the bugs doesn't really bite up. So like I give this, you get so many seeds from it. I distribute it to schools. I've researched the nutrition of the plant, which is supposed to be higher in some of the minerals and such that is found in regular callaloo. But you're not familiar with this crop, are you?
No, at all.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind.
So my first question, with regard to this kind of crop, is a open pollinated crop or is self-pollinated?
Open pollinated.
It's open pollinated. So at the end of the day, you are creating a gene pool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you are creating a gene pool, you are able to identify what the main characteristics of your Andrew Bruce gene pool is a very good step forward.
Okay.
Yeah. And you are managing unconsciously evolutionary population.
Yes.
The difference between evolutionary population and the conventional breeder populations is you are maintaining by selecting what is the main characteristic that you want to keep on your family system or the neighbor family system.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would just want to, if may I just answer one of the questions for him, Ms. Nicola?
Okay, Mr. Green, the agronomist, yes.
Right. In regards to what Andrew was asking, he's having some problems with lepidopterans, the caterpillars, right? We do have, it's in the organic system. All you need to use, we do have it in the farm stores here. Bacillus thuringiensis. It's a bacteria that is host specific for the lepidopterans, right? But you can't do like a cocktail when you're applying it, right? Like how the conventional guys would do it, because it's a living organism. It will die. And also when applying, you have to apply like in the evening, when the sun is going down. Yeah. So that this it's a bacteria, right? It work through the night, and the caterpillars consume it. It goes in the gut, and those caterpillars are history. So in the organic system, here in Jamaica, where pest control is concerned, it's not that we know it all, but we do have, you know, control measures that we can use so we are not at ground zero, right? We are not at ground zero. It's just to get the information, be able to disseminate it out there, and as Humberto is saying, that one of the key thing is that because our farmers, you know, they have to see the thing, yes. So we definitely have to set up demonstration plots all over, and you know, and use these practices, and I can assure you, the farmers, you know, they'll see better yields. I want to tell you that even in St. Elizabeth, when these guys are having the problems with the beet army worms, you know, we in the organic system, we actually the guys at Bodles, we gave them information, you know, and they used it and it helped, you know. So so
I have a couple of questions for you, very quick. The first, do you have Bacillus thuringiensis available in Jamaica?
Yes, we do. We
wow,
do.
This is very important point for because brassica, well, you know, the caterpillar are really terrible.
Yes, it's really terrible.
Right. And the second question is, are you able to grow seeds of brassicas in Jamaica, or you bought the seed from companies?
We purchase our seeds from companies, but but for some of the, but what I've noticed practically for myself, like pak choy, right? It do molds, and you know, and we are able to get seeds from them.
Right. But brassica, no.
Yes.
Brassica is really hot. It's really hot in tropical climate.
Yes.
Which is why I grow the tree-colored, the bush cabbage, because I can take cuttings.
Oh, great! So we need to discuss face to face. Whoa, great.
Okay. Yes,
I got that plan from Nicola's brother.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
I think that we can. I think that seems like another. We should have just a whole other meeting around the brassicas. I think that's what we should do, because it is a major challenge that we have here, and people do want to have their greens. But I do see there's John and Dr. Lindsay, and after Dr. Lindsay, I think that would be the end and just a closing. So John has been patiently waiting. Can we give John a chance to weigh in?
Yes, thank you very much, and good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
I tuned in about 20 minutes, so I missed part of the presentation. So forgive me if I missed something. What I wanted to find out is for this system and how you operate it in Cuba, do you also operate a seed bank, centralized seed bank, more or less, to preserve and catalog and save these varieties, and especially for in case there are disasters and so on, or whatever eventuality, that you do maintain the genetics and that sort of thing? And is that a critical part of the operations in order for it to work?
Yeah, excellent question again.
Great question.
Yes. So let me be honest with you. Let me be quite honest. When the crisis came to Cuba, one of it was an energetic crisis. So energetic means that you have not oil for producing electricity. So what's going on to the conventional seed bank? Centralize it. They face a lot of problem in maintaining that, because they depend on the electricity.
Refrigeration,
yeah. So do you know what I did with my friends Nico? I make a deal with the people who was maintaining officially for the government of the seed collection, Cuban seed collections. So I gave them 3 computers in terms of all diversity they had. And we made this deal. So I took all this diversity, I give more than a dozen farmers to grow in the field. 2 years later, 2 years later, came a hurricane. Yeah, and the hurricane destroyed everything, except the farmer that the farmer seed bank they did with the seed that I provide them, because they put into the Coca-Cola bottles, plastic bottles. Yeah, and they even when the hurricane was completely flat, all the suns, the Coca-Cola was floating.
Okay.
And they were able to maintain. And because of this seed, the conventional system was completely collapsed because the hurricane. They provide short, I would say, annual crops to the neighbor, and they recover quickly because of that. So I think the best thing is to look for a combination, I would say a collaboration between the farmer seed banks or community seed banks with the official seed banks. Because something that I have been fighting a lot, not only in Cuba, but also in many parts of the world that I have been working with, that it's very clear for scientists who are conserving the diversity. They go to your farm, to the farmer, and the farmer gives the seed to them, isn't it? And they feel so proud in giving to the scientist the seed they have been conserved. They have some sample, and they feel so proud of that. But it's not very clear what is the mechanism that exists in the case that the farmer needs the seed that they gave to the scientist. And this is something that we need to get more clear in order to sustain a win-win relation. I give to you so proud how the mechanisms to return back in the case that I need these seeds. This is very important if you really want to create organic organic breeding program to involve people who are conserving the genetic material from the institution in Jamaica. You want them to be part from the very beginning, and they understand what is the means of participatory organic seed breeding.
Very important and great question.
Yeah.
Yes, incidentally, these bottles with the seeds, do they actually put wood ash mixed in with the seeds? Because we do that, and the old time persons do that as well in terms of keeping away pests and so on. So wood ashes, and they mix it with the seed in these bottles.
No. In the case of the farmer that I was working with them, no. Okay. Something that it was really efficient to put some, but it's something that you need to manage. The sunshine is the best pesticide for any kind of seed borne.
Okay.
So they manage that. They ensure that it's right. You know, for the Caribbean, the wet is a big enemy we have. So we have to ensure that enough that they are dry enough. Yeah, and to put some to get some sun as well, to ensure that it's out of insect and all this stuff and all of diseases, and you put into the bottle, and you have to make sure that is completely I would say any holes, nothing, any interaction with air once you put into the bottle. It's something that the farmer need to make sure about that. And the rest, for instance, you can maintain maize for more than 1.5 years with more than 90% of germination. If you make sure about the dry and they are completely out of diseases, insects mainly.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay,
all right,
thank you very much.
Thank you, that's a great question. So Dr. Lindsay, you have the last question.
Thank you. Two things. With regards to BT, Bacillus thuringiensis, it is important that there be scouting and there be treatment in the early stages, because it is not effective against the huge adults, but when the larvae are very small, then it is more effective And as the speaker before suggested, that it's better to apply it in the evening because it will be denatured if it is done in the sun at 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the day. The second thing, Humberto, is that, yeah, Humberto. Yeah, in terms, I visited Cuba in the 90s when there were lots of stuff with the organic conicus. And one of the challenges for organic agriculture was that you are still using paraquat as a herbicide. So that would disqualify the product from being considered as organic. How do you control your weeds correctly?
But it's by cover, natural cover, by mulching, mainly by mulching, soil rotations, and working hard, weeding.
Do you use gas there? I guess you're going to say you don't have gas because there's flame weeding, which is allowed for organic, but you're probably say you're short of gas, so you would not be able.
Yeah,
No. What is the point? What is the point in Cuba? So we have not a strong organic certification program, and unfortunately, all the products we did in the past, in the way that the people have access to agrochemicals, they getting back. Because for me, the way of maintaining it, and even the increase and sustain the organic production, you need to be linked with some type of markets. Yeah. I mean, for the majority of the farmer, this is a process that the people did because the necessity or urgency. But some of them learn, but others are not willing to continue if they find something agrochemical and they want to control quickly that they did. So one of the alternatives that you really want to ensure that the people are keep growing organically is that you have some market incentives as well. And it's not the case of Cuba. So in Cuba, the differentiation between organic and non-organic, the people know informally, I would say, because in a particular community who are growing vegetable, the people know who is putting some agrochemical and who is putting completely clean, who are farmers who are really have a cleaning. And of course, the people just go to the people, to the farmer who are growing cleaning. But it's quite informal, I would say, at very, very, very local level. But if you want to grow a little bit as a business, and you want to pass the border of your village, you need some guarantee that you are producing something different. And this is I would say, this is a challenge that the Cuban have. And because of the socialist mentality, and they don't believe that business is important. It's not the only part of the game, but it's a part that it needs to be considered as well. Because the farmer at the end of the day are working for get a little bit more profit.
To survive. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you guys so much for all these great questions, and thank you so much for your time, Humberto, and really just the work that you've done over the years, just in Cuba and everywhere else that you've been touching, and the work you're continuing to do. We sincerely hope that we've romanced you enough, and probably some more, to have you come and do some work with us, because we always love to learn from people who have best practice and have history behind them, and is also willing to lovingly share that information with us. So we hope that to get you on island, and for us to really, really create a program that, because one of the things that would often happens in Jamaica is that when we do something, a lot of the other islands will look to us for best practices, and we're looking to you for best practices. So we want to be able to spread this information, because you see the time, I mean, it's not even about what's going on in the world, it's just that we need to put the farming back into the hands, and to have the master growers really start to take care of what, the seeds, because you see the nutritional value, all the things that you said before in the presentation is so important for us to like really know where food is coming from and have food security, because this is what it's about. And especially with all the challenges that we have with climate change, or all the hurricane issues and everything that's going on, as a country that does not control its source of seeds, it's really a country really on the brink. And I think that necessity is going to make us, because the first thing you said, it was a necessity, and the other word was necessity.
Urgency.
And trust me, people who are on this call understand the necessity and urgency at this time, because it's very challenging for us to get any of those seeds imported. So I look forward to working with you. And on the call, anybody else that is interested in doing this work, please do send me a WhatsApp message. This is, many hands make light work. We really want to be able to move this along and get people who are really interested in doing this work. And so maybe it just starts out being, we'll get the master growers, but we also start, as I said, some of the women, starting the plots and trying things and learning. And as we learn, we grow. So I just want to thank you. And if you're interested, please send me a WhatsApp message. Let's put you on the circle of the participatory seed work, and then we'll go from there. And Humberto, thank you so much for your input tonight. And I'll be talking to you very soon.
Thank you. Bye.
And there's also one other thing. I think there is Barbara. Are you there? Nzinga?
Hi, I'm here.
Okay. Will you be able to do the closing?
Okay. Yes, the thanks, or just to give thanks? We give thanks for everyone who could make it on today's webinar. There was a lot of information shared and a lot to ingest. And from where I was listening, it shows that we have so much to learn, so much farther to go and to grow. And we're thankful for this first step that we're taking with Humberto. And we thank him for the time he's taken at this late hour where he is to give us that knowledge, that information to make those first steps. We truly appreciate that time. We truly appreciate the knowledge, and we look forward to more works, more sharing, and more growth in this organic and seed breeding and sharing. It's all about saving not only ourselves, but the world and the environment around us. So together, I think we have made a giant first step. When you put everybody's first step together, it's a giant step. So we are very thankful, and we say good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Thanks. Good night.
Yeah. Bye.
Night.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.